welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you a super simple summer makeup. So this is just going to be using mainly cream products and just quick simple hacks to have a quick simple summer makeup routine. So I'm starting with freshly moisturised skin and then I'm going to add some primer. So if you're anything like me and you have oily skin, and then you're going to need a mattifying primer. So this is the Too Faced Peachy Matte Primer. So I'm going to pop this in the centre of my face where I get most oily and where I have enlarged pores, so that's always around the nose, the forehead, the chin, those kind of areas, and a little bit on the chin. Also, if you find you have any uneven texture around blemishes and things, then you can pop some of this as well, because it's just going to help to smooth the skin around it. Because obviously here I have these blemishes, they might be slightly raised. If you put something like a pore filling primer around it, it's just going to help to smooth that area and help with any texture issues. So that's that product. Then for the cheeks, for primer, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Wonderglow. So this is a very dewy primer. So I'm just popping that at the cheeks just a little bit and just keep it well away from this area of the nose, because I will naturally get very shiny there. This is a great primer to apply all over though if you have normal to dry skin, or if you just like a very dewy look, then definitely go for this because it's super hydrating and smoothing. It's really fab. So on to foundation. I'm going to, like always, be my awkward self and use two different foundations. I just love doing that. So I've got my trusty makeup palette. So I'm firstly going to mix the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. So I'm going to use 1.5 pumps of that maybe. That's just quite a lot. Usually I find quite a lot of the foundation gets caught up in the brush or the sponge. So I do use quite a lot of foundation actually. So that was in shade 4. So it's neutral but it's very yellow. And as you can see, I'm a little bit tanned at the moment. So then I'm going to mix it with the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation. So this is in shade 8 medium. So I quite like to have like a kind of summer colour and a winter colour. This is like a very deep olivey tone on me, and I love the finish of this foundation, and it has SPF 15. So I'm going to mix those two foundations together and just pop them on the skin with my finger. So I've just totally guessed the tone here, so this could be wrong. If it's wrong, I'll just adjust it, but we'll try it out. Also, if you want a very natural finish, then I would suggest using just the Light Wonder foundation, because it's super natural and it has a really glowy, lovely finish. It looks super smooth and flawless on the skin for being such light coverage. But I really wanted to test out the Airbrush Flawless Finish foundation. That's a long name. I wanted to test that mix with the Light Wonder, so because this is brand new to me, I've not actually used this before, whereas the Light Wonder I use all the time. So I'm just going to blend that in. Let's see, it's looking quite yellow at the moment, but that may be okay, we shall see. The light one, the shade 4 of the Airbrush foundation would be great if you have a very yellow undertone. So I'm blending the foundation with an Anastaia Hale buffing brush as always. So I'm just smoothing that on firstly. So as you can see, they're lovely coverage together. The Light Wonder, like I said, is very natural finish, very glowy and dewy, a very thin water-based foundation. Whereas the Airbrush Flawless Finish is more of a medium to full, I would say, and it's quite matte. They're very different foundations. So just make sure you blend that right into the hairline, the temples, don't forget anywhere around the ear, jawline, everything. But definitely I'm going to need to make it a little bit darker. So I'm actually going to take whatever's left on the brush and just apply this on my sunburnt area. Obviously this is very risky when wearing white. So I'm just going to apply a tiny bit more of the Light Wonder foundation, since it's a nice dark shade, just to kind of even the tone up slightly. That's so much better, even just that. I also do find these foundations will oxidise slightly on oily skin, so I'm liking the look of that so far. So I'm next going to switch to concealer. So for under the eyes, I'm going to use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla. So this is a very light colour, but it's going to really highlight nicely under the eyes. And then also in the middle, more so to highlight rather than to actually add coverage. Then around everywhere else, I'm going to use the same concealer in the shade Custard. So this is very empty, this one. I need to buy a new one. This concealer is great if you need extra coverage, but it's not heavy or drying at all. It's definitely, I would say it's 100% my favourite concealer of all time. Also, another video I'm going to film soon is an empties video. So I've got lots and lots of empties that I finished during lockdown. So I'll definitely post that soon. So yes, I'm just adding this where I need a little bit extra coverage. So on my blemishes, for example. So I'm going to take the same Anastaia Hale buffing brush, buffing that in. So just pressing that into the skin. And then I'm also going to go under the eyes. I'm going to go in with a sponge in a second. So pat. So I'm going to take the concealer in the shade Vanilla again and pop that on the eyelids as an eye base. So I'm going to pop that right up underneath the brow. So I'm going to blend that in with the Natalie Grace Cosmetics blending sponge. So again, ignore the fact that I've used it already. I used it to film my last video. This sponge is such a lovely texture. I would really highly recommend it So Natalie has an Instagram and a website, so I'll leave both below. So I'm going to now blend over the foundation, especially in the centre, just to smooth everything over. I just find you get such a flawless finish when you use a sponge. Fab. Then for cream contour, and again to kind of fix the tones in the face because my face is slightly lighter. So as always, I'm taking the Urban Decay Deep Neutral Concealer. So this is the Naked Skin Concealer. I'm just applying a thin line of that. So it looks a bit crazy, but don't worry. Then just use your sponge, just blend, 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 blend. A little bit around the sides of the nose, around the jawline. This will look super messy at first, but don't worry. And then I'm going to use the other side of the sponge. What a difference. So again, it's matching the tones on my neck so much better. So same on the other side. Same here, forehead. Make sure you get right into the hairline and right into that cheekbone. So then I'm going on to the RCMA No Colour Powder, but this is in the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder pot. So I'm just setting under the eyes first and slightly on the eyelid because I'm going to be using a cream eyeshadow and I don't want the eyes to be kind of too wet. And then I'm using a small brush again to get right around the nose to really powder that area. Because obviously if it is summer, you don't want to have any kind of oil coming through if you're very oily like me. But if you're not oily, then don't worry about that. So then a slightly bigger brush for the rest of the face. So I'm patting this on, so remember, as I always say, never swirl products unless you've set the makeup below it very well, because if you pat, you're going to really build up coverage and you're not going to disturb the makeup underneath. But if you swirl it, you're going to basically remove all the coverage you've added below, and also it can mess up the textures of the products because you're swirling a powder product into something that's wet like a cream. You're not going to get a nice texture. So a few little extra things for the cheeks. Again, just to make sure the makeup lasts all day and to set those creams, I'm going to use the Anastasia Saddle Bronzer. So just a tiny bit of this. Tiniest amount, barely anything. And then again, like I showed in my last video, if there's any kind of inconsistencies, if you will, with tones on the neck and things, then you can just fix that with your bronzer. So yeah, I do want a 3D look with different tones in the face. Then for blush, I'm using a new blush to me. So this is a Botanic Beauty blush in Pink Freesia. So although it says Pink Freesia, I think it looks quite peach actually. Oh, it's very powdery. So this is cruelty free and I've never used it before. So we shall see how this turns out. Nice. That's lovely. I've applied quite a lot of the blush because if you've watched any of my other videos, I've mentioned many times before that blush is always one of the first things to go when your makeup is wearing off throughout the day. Also because the highlighter covers quite a lot of the blush. So I'm going to set the face now with the NYX Matte Setting Spray. So I like this one. I also like the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. That's really good. So I'm just going to hold it at arm's length. You need to be using a setting spray, otherwise your makeup is just not going to last as long. But that's just my personal experience. So some people don't believe in setting sprays and that's fine. So then for highlighter, I'm using my tried and trusted Illamasqua OMG highlighter. So I'm taking that on a small fluffy brush. Obviously this is a glam summer makeup, I wouldn't wear this. I maybe wouldn't wear it as much as this every day, but I would wear it every day in summer if I was going out at night, for example, for dinner. Sometimes during the day, I love to wear cream products in summer, but they just don't last as long. I'm going to apply a tiny bit more of the highlighter just here. Then I'm going to also take some of this in the inner corner of the eyes. Then I'm going to zoom in for the eyes. So I'm going to firstly take the Douglas Brow Definer Gel. So this is the exact same as the Benefit Gimme Brow. You don't need to have this specific brand, this is just what I'm currently using. So I'm just going to brush the brows upwards to get a nice fluffy effect. I'm well overdue a brow lamination. So that is how I get my fluffy brow look. I've came through quite the brow journey. So next I'm going to take the NYX Precision Brow Pencil in Taupe. So I'm just applying small strokes of that upwards. This is also going to help to push the brows up as well. So now that the face and the brows are done, I'm going to move on to eyeshadow. So for this I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Matte and Metal Shadows. So this is in Double Pump Latte and Drop Top. So one side is like a matte cream shadow and the other side is a nice shimmery one. I'm firstly going to take the matte side, so Double Pump Latte, apply that all over the lid. So I've already put my concealer there and I've set it slightly with my powder. So just make sure you get this right down to the lash line. And I'm applying it slightly into the crease. And before it's got time to dry, I'm going to just start to blend it. So I'm going to use a Real Techniques brush for this. Nice blending brush, very similar to something like the MAC 217. If anyone remembers that brush. And I'm just being very soft as I get to the edge. So as I always say, with blending, the less you touch the skin, the better actually, rather than pressing super hard. That just makes your eyeshadow go patchy because again you're mixing powders and creams together. You can't really go wrong with it. So if you're any darker than me, if you're any darker in skin tone than me, then you'll definitely have to go up a shade or two with this. So they do lots of different shades of this as well for every skin tone, and like lots of different shades of brown, lots of different shades, lots of different browny nude shades, which is fab. So it's super easy to blend because it is a cream. You really can't go wrong with creams. So then I'm going to take the same brush I used to apply the colour Matte Inner Corner and take a little bit of the matte brown shade, so the Double Pump Latte, and just apply that on the eyes. And I'm just going to apply it straight under the eyes. So again, because this is a cream shadow, it kind of acts like an eye primer as well, which is fab. So you can see that adds a really, really nice warmth to the eyes. It really makes my eyes pop this colour because it's coming across quite orange on camera, but in person it's a lot more muted than this. So just look up into your mirror and go underneath the lashes. Don't apply straight on top of the lashes like this because you're just going to get them all full of the shadow. Again, with an everyday look, you want to pick something that's super simple. So I'm just taking my bronzer, so the Anastasia Saddle Bronzer, and just going on top. Again, you want to always set those creams if you really want it to last all day. I'm going to take a little bit of bronzer on my fluffy blending brush and just apply it all over the lid. Again, this is going to deepen it slightly. And then again, I'm going to hold the brush further down this time and just make sure to blend everything out, not touching the brow too much. You want to have a little gap between the two. So for lip liner, I'm using the M Russet liner. So always just start in the middle, and if you're going to overdraw, only overdraw the middle and keep the sides natural. You can see this little pink bit on my lips. This is actually from burning my lips on a coffee yesterday. I took a sip of coffee and it was honestly the warmest thing I've ever drunk or ate in my life. It was absolutely scalding. My lips were burning and nipping for about an hour afterwards. It was really bad, hence this big reddy pink bit in my lips. And then for lipstick, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Penelope Pink. I'm gonna take that liner all over the lips a little bit, and then the lipstick. So this is actually more of a brown lipstick, I would say. Obviously that liner is kind of pinky browny, so it just changes the lip up slightly. So that's always the case with lip liners and lipstick. You can adjust the colour of the lipstick depending on the liner you pair it with. But I think to finish, I'll pop a little bit of Fenty gloss on, of course. So this is Fenty Glow, the brown shade. So that's the finished look, guys. So it's very simple, as you can see, but obviously quite glam. You could wear it on a night out if you wanted. The lighting might be a bit darker now because my camera cut out just as I was finishing my makeup, so I'm filming the outro when it is currently pitch black outside. So that's great. But this is it with softbox lighting. I would definitely wear this makeup daily. It's not like too much makeup for me, but those of you who prefer a supernatural daytime makeup, maybe, like I said, just use the Light Wonder foundation on its own rather than mixing it with the Airbrush Flawless foundation, which is obviously heavier, which is obviously fuller coverage and more matte. So this on its own is supernatural, so maybe do that. Maybe just apply a little bit less cheek products, or maybe a little bit less on the eyes, that kind of thing, and it'll just soften the look up. So just adjust the look to your own preferences. Also, something that I didn't use was the metallic side of this Huda Beauty shadow. You can always apply a little bit of that possibly in the centre of the lid just to change the look up a little bit more again. But yeah, so I hope you liked today's look, and again, let me know any other looks you want to see. I just thought this one would be good for a quick kind of daily makeup that can be adapted to be supernatural or to be a bit more glam like this one. So if you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a comment and a like, and make sure you subscribe as well so you can see my future videos. And I'll also post videos of this look over on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me there, it's Danielle Dickson MUA, and I post all of my makeup work and just my general life there too. So thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!